I got the call from my car. So the car is naturally, the minute I actually got my food, the guy called and said that my car is basically ready. They have to order the mirror assembly. Yeah, that's right. That's right. They got the mirror assembly is going to be expensive, so the whole thing is expensive to fix. But so they have to order it, and they'll be able to put it in when it comes in a couple weeks. But anyway, it is what it is. So I'm going to have a little bit of my Acai bowl here, and then I'm going to head back. All right. This is. Woo. Okay. Here we go, chat. So it looks like what we got here is we've got not a lot of extra room to maneuver, but what we've got here is, I know, it's almost lunchtime. Nope. Okay, that's not going to work. Damn it. Okay, I'm going to put this here. Okay, so here we go, chat. What we've got here is, there it is. We got some blueberries there. We got some granola. We got some strawberry, bananas. So that's the meal. So we're gonna see. It looks like a blueberry crumble. Well, it's probably a blueberry crumble that's named so that it can be priced for a blueberry crumble. This is a goddamn expensive blueberry crumble. But by the time I got here, I was like, I'm not leaving here without getting this goddamn thing. So bon appetit. Where are the raisins? Safely in the box where they belong, big boss. Thank you, thank you. This is good. This thing should give me energy. Yeah, there's definitely no bacon. There's definitely no bacon. It's cold. Right now, I think it's about 26, 27 Fahrenheit. So pretty cold. Yeah, I would say it's pretty similar to that. If prepares his sanity for the Imperial units. Hey, look. Listen, what do you mean only -3? Let me remind you, it's March 4th. All right? It's not late January. We are only 17 days removed, 17 days away from the beginning of spring. -20 in a wet, windy St. Petersburg. Ugh. Listen, I was talking to Izzy's about this, and it's the same deal. If you're going to live, you live in St. Petersburg, and so, as a consequence, cold weather. Yeah, I remember when you were in Siberia. Good God. Is that Effect Life? Is that? I think we talked about this before. Does it never? You pretty much never have snow in Belgium. It's not supposed to drop worse than -5. It's 26 Fahrenheit in Norway, yeah. Yeah, but Echo, you get to live in Norway. You get to have an awesome film club thing. All right, sounds good. Be good. Good luck with the writing, Turbo. Thanks for stopping by. What's up, G Pudding? I am not at Tiffany's. I am at Sprout. Oh. Well, obviously only you can decide, Ned, but it feels like you had a big part to play in getting that stuff for the club, right? So I hope that you're getting the recognition for it. Oh man. Too generous, Net. Thank you, Nedwin. Too generous. But I'm grateful. We got Irish flags all up and down the street. Here, look at this. Irish and U.S. flags. Well, I agree with them that you should get out more. Now, I don't know whether The Batman is the most uplifting film I could think of, but oh, well, good luck on the interview anyway, Ned. And it's good to see you. And I really appreciate the generosity. And yeah, and be well, most of all, my friend. Be well, and stay safe. Keep us posted on stuff. Awesome. No pressure, but it's always good to see you. And good luck. Knock 'em dead. Tell them you were responsible for the original Arbot. And they'll be like, oh my God. Here, sir, we apologize. How much to get you? We'll have you move to France. We'll have you move to Barcelona, to Spain, and here's your $1 million salary. Have a good one now. Keep on keeping on, my friend. What time is it? It's not even 11 yet. So the good news was the wiper was not broken. The nut had cut and loose, so they just had to retighten it. They fixed this thing, they checked this thing on the tire, that's fine. So the only issue really is the mirror, and the mirror is the expensive thing. But otherwise, the van's fine. But I don't love this van, honestly. The mileage is awful. And I don't know. We don't have the money at the moment to go get something else, but well, I have kind of an idea where I'm going now, fortunately. But thank you, Hilnis. I will try to keep that in mind. And good luck with the transfer of information meeting. What if Stalio knows, though? What if Stalio knows that he has to now change it up and start actually giving me accurate info? In that case, I should do what they say. The accurate info is overrated. Embrace the chaos. I have to say, actually, that upon reflection, this isn't bad, but it's not worth $15. But you live and learn. It is not. It is a kai or acai, however that's pronounced, with granola, bananas, strawberries, blueberries. Tastes really good for you, though. Yeah, Stalio, I did. I saw it and I'm like, I deserved a treat. That's true. I think I probably would have been better off getting the $3 bagel sandwich, but yes, I would not do that again. Would not pay for that same amount again. Good, but really overrated. Yeah. Pretty much, Div. It's good, don't get me wrong. But it's not $15 good. Honestly, what I would expect to pay for this, $7. This really should be about half. But it's okay. It's good for my body. And it's not like I do this every day, or indeed every week. Fortunately, there's not a lot of wind today, because if it was windy and this cold, it would be a little rough. Because it's not windy, it's not that bad. They're just getting ahead of inflation. Yeah, I know. I passed some gas stations that already had gas prices up to like over $4. And they're like gouging the public. This is another thing about the reason that the van is starting to annoy me. Because my other car is a Toyota hybrid, small one. Not too small, RAV4. Like a mini, kind of a mini SUV-ish type of thing. But it's a RAV4. So it's a hybrid. So it gets like 36 to 38 miles a gallon. The van, on the other hand, yeah, pretty much, dude. $1.55 a liter. So how many liters to a gallon? I should know that, but I don't. How many liters to a gallon? Does anyone know? Roughly 4? Wait, so to get a gallon of gas, that's like $5 a gallon. Holy Christmas, is that right? 3.78. Wow. I have never paid that much. Never. The most that I've ever paid is like, I think $4.10 for a gallon. Wow. $5 a gallon. This is why it's all about hybrids and electric cars, people. We need to get off fossil fuels for the planet anyway. You put premium in your Mustang? So basically you spend $100 a week. Because I know your Mustang, the mileage is not going to anything to write home about, I believe. $4.50. Yes, we used to do Costco gas all the time, actually. We don't have a Costco, well, we actually, I don't think it's that close, but I hadn't thought about that, actually. We used to get Costco gas at my daughter's school because she had one right nearby. So we would like specially plan it so we could get gas from that one because it was so much cheaper. No, this is the reason why the gas price is raising. Yeah. Yeah, Costco, I guess, is a fairly big deal in Canada, too. No, because you're going to send me to, you're going to tell me you're sending me to Costco, and instead I'll end up at Walmart, Stalio. Oh, sorry, Arv. I meant to send you to, totally my fault. No one could have predicted. Yeah, please. You know what's so good about Costco, which we're finally going to be getting again? Their muffins. Costco corn muffins are legit. Super legit. Gas, buddy. So it just assesses local gas prices? Is that what it is, Izzy's? All right. We have finished our breakfast. I have enough energy to get me back, maybe. All right, so. Yeah, nice. But how big is that though? He's like, does it only do New York? Or no, New York. Sorry. Does it only do big cities like New York? Everywhere? Okay. That's cool. That's cool. Nice. $7.61 per gallon in Belgium, huh? Well, yeah, but Belgium is a rational country that has much better mass transit options, right? I've never actually been to Belgium, but that's my understanding. That's nuts. But again, like, see, the thing is, America is not really a mass transit friendly country. There are areas where there are. New York City is obviously, oof. There are cities that are that way. Hold on a second. I'm gonna get, man, should have gone over first. I'm gonna go over this way. I'm gonna get a contact high walking behind that guy. Yeah, so there are specific cities that are wait. Okay. There are specific cities. Yeah, you did. There are buses, so like the bus routes are, depending on where you live, like New York City has a very well connected system, although it's also an aging mass transit system, so they have deferred maintenance things and a whole bunch of stuff. And the MTA, the Metropolitan Transit Authority, which runs it, is very corrupt and, you know, whatever. But still,
New York is well coordinated for that. Boston is pretty good too. A lot of the cities have, Philadelphia, DC, a lot of them have like decent mass transit opportunities. And there are bus routes too that make up for that. But much of America, outside of some of those cities, are not mass transit at all. And obviously there are powerful interests that would prefer that everyone be driving cars all the time. So, it's like, yeah, you can get everywhere by mass transit. Right. That's what I'm saying. Everything here is coordinated for, really almost everything here is coordinated for cars and buses to a lesser extent. Or they do these stupid, things like light rail are becoming more popular, and there's big investments now that are going to be made in railways and trains, which is great. And there are routes that are taken by a lot of people, like the Metro North Railroad, for example, runs all the way from Boston all the way down along the coast of Connecticut, through Rhode Island, along the coast of Connecticut, all the way into New York. That's run by Amtrak, and actually no, Metro North is its own thing, but still Amtrak and Metro North, so there is some of that. But again, there was a lot of pressure put against trains and all this stuff by fossil fuel companies and by car companies. So everything here is coordinated towards cars. And that's obviously a problem. And it's a problem that's going to take a while to fix. Right. And you have so light rail is fine, but you have then you have some people who are like, let's do monorail. And it's like, okay, the problem with a monorail is that it takes too much track space and infrastructure to build it, so that, and you can't fit enough people on it. You can't run enough trains along that track. So it just isn't cost effective. And it's one of those things that sounds cool. It's like Elon Musk doing his Hyperloop thing. And it's like, instead of doing that, just do a freaking legitimate, relatively high-speed rail service. Without too much difficulty, you could retrofit tracks to be able to do old truck. You could retrofit tracks easily to be able to do, to manage high-speed trains on them. So you could get up to 130, 140, 150 miles an hour, and you could get people places really fast and safely, like they do, for example, in Japan, or in Europe with Eurorail, or, morning, Geester. So you could do that. But instead, there's so much sort of pushback pressure against it. Okay, this is a little silly. There we go. See, I was like, but there's so much pushback against it that you end up with a lot of people not doing that. Bikes have become more popular, but see, bikes, again, first of all, you can't take anybody, can't have mass bike, right? Secondly, a lot of people who like to talk about bikes don't realize that some of those bikes, unless you make dedicated bike lanes, you're putting them on the same streets as cars, and that's a recipe for trouble. Partially because of the car, because people drive too aggressively a lot of times, but also partially because of the bike, because cyclists in general, at least in America, are the only people I know that like to pretend that they are a car some of the time, a bike some of the time, and neither some of the time. They're the only ones who basically are like, I get to be whatever I want when I want to. And I'm like, yeah, that's not how that works. Either you follow the rules of the road like a car does, or you're not on the road and you're your own special thing as a bike and you do those things only. But you don't get to shift. So I get really annoyed when I see cyclists running red lights, which they're not supposed to do, running stop signs, which they're not supposed to do. And I hear all the time people being like, oh, well, whatever, because then I lose my momentum. Like, I don't care if you lose your momentum, my guy. You said you want to be on the same street and treat it with the same respect. Okay, treat it with the same respect on the same street. Then follow the rules. So, bike terrorists instead of bike tourists. Yeah, like, and again, and I'm not, I rode a bike a lot when I was younger, and I'm not anti-bike, and obviously they're much better for the environment, clearly. But, you know, if you're going to put them on the same road, on the same street as cars, then you gotta have regulations in place to manage that. Wherever you are welcome here. Methodist congregations merged 1969. Very cool. Mourning together, healing together. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, like, exactly. Rock together. What's up, Wenchkin? Well, I just don't want the entitlement, you know? Like, I don't want someone to tell me that it's okay for them to cut in front of me on their bike and go and run a stop sign and run a red light because, quote, I'm lighter than a car. Yeah, I know that. And if I'm being a responsible car driver, I'm going to do everything I can not to run into you. It would be nice if you could make that easier by not putting everyone at risk by just being like, well, I get to go there because I'm a special snowflake to which none of the rules of the road apply. No, not cool. Not cool. Doing well, Wenchkin. Yeah, exactly. I want to give them a ton of space because, like, I don't want anybody to get hurt. I'm a very safe driver. But, like, that's it, right? Is that I am a safe driver. There are people who are not, clearly. But just saying things like, well, statistically, cyclists are more likely to get hurt than car drivers. Well, no kidding. But I don't want you to get hurt or cause problems for pedestrians either. So just decide what you are. Figure out, please, if you're a car or a bike, and let's go. Yeah, see? Almost 4, like 395. Down the street, there was one at like 404. Yeah, Tren, you know. And again, once again, don't misunderstand. I am very much in favor of bicycles, but there's got to be more of a discussion about how to come together so that there isn't a situation where the driver, you know, auto drivers and bicyclists kind of hate each other. Right, and they clearly, yeah, that's it. And it's the taking advantage of it that I don't like. It's just, you know, follow the rules. That's all. Come together right now over bikes. Do. You know, and then there have been other things that have been attempted to try to address the car problem as well. Like, obviously carpools are a thing. But the thing is about carpools is that one of the things that Americans, mostly for ill, although occasionally for good, is they're huge on individual freedom. As we've seen in this pandemic, they're actually way too much about individual freedom. So much so, I shouldn't say they, a substantial percentage, not the majority, but a good 25-30% are obsessed with individual freedom to such a degree that they basically put people at risk so that they don't have to, so basically so they don't have to be inconvenienced in doing anything. And that's wrong, obviously. It's wrong, and and it led to all kinds of problems. And it's one of the reasons that I keep pushing on this channel and elsewhere the value of community. community responsibility, community agency, community connection. I believe in individual freedom, but I also believe in individual responsibility to the community that supports the individual. And America tends to glorify this idea of freedom means I get to do whatever I want. And that's not what freedom really means, or it shouldn't be. Yeah. I can see that. I can see that, Winchkin. Because the thing is that individual responsibility really is meaningless outside of a community setting, right? It's meaningless. None of these people that like to yell and scream about doing whatever they want when they want, they get to do that on roads. They get to drive to protests on roads built through the tax money of the communities that they are a part of, with gas in their cars regulated by the government, paid for by the taxes of the people, the community that supports them, protected, theoretically anyway, by the security police, the police, etc., paid for by the community, and on and on. None of these people would last 5 hours in a real outdoor survival scenario. You see all these nonsense things on YouTube, about here's all this special food that can last you for 3 months, and in these packets and all this survival prep garbage. This is useless. Stop trying to figure out ways to survive everything on your own, and instead think about ways to bring people together in community. That's what it's about. Exactly, Div. Exactly. And everyone hears that, well, I shouldn't say that. Some people hear that and their reaction is, oh, it's talking about communism. You're like, no, we're not talking about communism. We're talking about community-ism. We're talking about bringing people together to work in common purpose. And most of these people who yell and scream about individuals are the same people who want to figure out ways to help their family. And I would argue that a family is a very small community unit. So unless you are completely loner McLone Wolf with no ties to anyone, you have communities that you're responsible to. And many of the lonely McLone Wolf types actually are that way too. They actually have someone they care about and are responsible to. In fact, I know people who don't have family, who are incredibly community-minded and have lots of friends and are generous and caring, because we are bound together by humanity, common experience of humanity. So going it alone is just, my God. Yeah, exactly, G Pudding. Lonely McLone Wolf. Tren is one of the more generous people that I know, actually, and is quite connected to many people. And that's an example of what I'm talking about, because Tren doesn't view himself as the only person on earth that matters. And the reality is, actually the irony is, that many of these people are more likely to have individual rights protected when the communities are part of what make that happen. When the communities are supported, they are better able to support individual experience and individual accomplishment and achievement, and they help each other out. A lot easier to do that when you've set up a strong, robust community that can handle and support each of its individual members. Yes. Well, I agree with that, Geister, but I would say, here, look, 409. That's what I was looking at before. Yeah, I agree with that, Geister, but totally, Shrift. And of course, that's Trifid, that's obvious for anyone who knows you, that you support that, and I think most of the people on this channel are exactly that way. It's kind of the vibe that I want to produce, right? But Geezer, I agree with you, but I think part of that is that there's been a concerted effort to try to, as much as possible, reduce people's connections with each other in some ways, to make it like it's just about the family. And I find that if you can broaden out the definition of a family, if you can say that, yeah, you have your family, you also have the, town that you're in, and the state, or the county, or the district, or the province, and you also have the country. More than that, you're part of the human family. Like, that sounds like a trite kind of whatever, but defining family in a much broader term is one way that I think you can start helping address that problem, so that people are part of a broader family. I'm not a fan of much of military culture, but there is a reason that integration in America happened first in the military. And it's partly because there's such an emphasis on working for your squad, for your squadron, for your unit, right, your division, that the military does have kind of a family feel for people who are in it. And I say that as someone who's deeply skeptical of the military, okay? But in that one regard, the military redefines family in a larger sense. And if we can do that globally, that's better. Support creating chaos. What's up, TNS? Well, Wenchkin, it sounds to me like you, in the end, you did a pretty good job. How's your kid doing, Wenchkin? I know you went through a tough time with her. I believe it's a daughter, right? I think you went through a tough time with her recently, not that long ago, but how are you doing now? How is she? Chaotic good. I actually think of myself as neutral good, because that to me is the best good. I will take either law or chaos, so long as it advances the good. Yeah, not a steady cam. Sorry. This isn't the most fascinating road to look at. Chaotic take, yeah. That's what a chaotic person would say. I'm glad to hear that, Winchkin. Listen, man. I have two of my own, and as you know, it's so hard to be able to provide them the best chance, not financially, but the best chance sort of emotionally, intellectually, most of all, creating a legacy that they can use going forward. I've been thinking a lot about that lately, about how important it is to leave a legacy. And I don't mean in a morbid way, but leave behind a lot of the people that are, leave behind the things that are not part of the legacy. I don't need to bring the legacy of my parents' perfectionism and their anxiety and even in certain cases some selfishness. I don't need to bring that legacy along. But if I can bring from them their curiosity, their intellectual curiosity, their thoughtfulness, the fact that it was always clear to me that they loved me, the creativity, and in my father's case, the understanding that everyone has their own story to tell. If I can bring that legacy along and leave the other stuff in the past, then that's what matters. And so I hope that you can bring along your care and your thoughtfulness and your interest in community yourself, and that you're able to give that to your daughter so that she'll always have that going forward. And again, I hope that we're all here a long time. I'm not trying to be morbid at all. That's not what this is about. But it's about recognizing what from your past you need and what you don't need, and bringing that forward. Right. Yeah. Well, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, but I guess I would say families are only, families are only as good as you make them. So communities, and not you, I mean the royal you, communities are only as good as the people who work on making them. So I'm not using it as a catch-all. Toxic families are bad, so are toxic communities. There are certainly plenty of those. But I do think that since we are so bound in this country anyway, in the United States anyway, to this concept of family, that broadening out what we mean by that would help. That's why there's this interest in found family, right? Found family, which is based on not blood relationships, but on family that you find and family that you choose. And for that, you don't choose toxicity, I hope. People would choose healthy and supportive things. So I don't necessarily think that the answer is, I don't want to play into the negatives of it, but I do think that redefining what we think of as family is a good intermediate step, is what I would say. Right. Like, see, I would think of, and I don't want to speak for Tren here, but I would think of Tren as actually quite, in a way, in quotes, family-oriented, but the family is the one that Tren has discovered and found and created over years and decades. So that's all. Yeah, I certainly am not fetishizing family as such, but because we in the US do that, I like to think of ways to work around that problem, you know, and to create a better, a more long-lasting outcome, I guess. This is one of the reasons that, and I mean, you know, you folks know this, I've talked about this all the time, about why this community that we have here of the Arvanauts is so important. Because it's a small community, although I'd like to think it's growing, but it's still a small community in the scheme of things. But this community is a model to me. Just like in group therapy, you model the stuff that you, in group, you're taught to model what happens out in the outside world. What happens in group is something you can then translate to the outside world. And I'd like to think that this is a place where people can feel comfortable, can feel safe, can feel loved, and that it's also a place where people can model positive relationships such that they can then use that in other aspects of their life. And in that regard, I think that such communities are enormously valuable. I am convinced of it, in fact, precisely because it's something we all chose to do. We all chose to be here. You all chose to spend your time leading me to a juice bar and then watching me walk back to get my car on a Friday. And you did that not just because, you know, nothing else to do, although I imagine that might be some of it. You also chose to do that because people care here. And so that's very important. And you all, of course, are the ones who make that possible. So, as I often say, thank you. Yeah, no, I hear that echo for sure. I'm really looking forward to you getting that place with your brother. You know, being able to move into that place. That will definitely help. Did it like drop? Because I was like, I obviously am trying to look ahead because that's kind of important. Yeah, well that's like, again, I I just think that stuff is super valuable. You know, when I took my daughter last Friday to see that college game, first of all, she then had her best game of the season the next day. So I'm just saying, you know, not saying that I was responsible, but hashtag just saying. No, but you know, we wore masks and there was vaccination requirements at the arena. You know, had to be vaccinated to get in. So like, we went there, and obviously we're vaccinated and boosted and everything. And it was a great experience. We had a great time. It was a great place to watch a game. And it was a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun partly because we were there with other people who were similarly watching and having fun. And it was a shared experience. So I think, obviously, safety reasons, but I think shared experiences are really important. And whether it's shared in person or shared virtually, those things really matter. So I have a feeling my legs are going to be a little sore tomorrow. This is far longer than I had planned to walk, which is fine, but it's one of those ones where I can already tell my muscles are going to be like, yo, really? Leg day. Yeah, I did not skip leg day. This was definitely a non-skipped leg day. That was really the reason. Honestly, like, that was why Stalio did this. Was honestly just for my own benefit, because Stalio knew I needed to not skip leg day. So really, that's what this is about. I'm walking for you. Oh yeah, I'm getting my steps in. I already got my steps in now, good God. All right, people, well, as you can see, I'm helping. Well, as you can see, people, that's the Honda place. So we have arrived back. So I am now going to let you lovely people go. Thank you for getting breakfast with me, even Stalio. And I'm going to see you folks tonight. Speaking of, now I just talked about cars and everything. If you want to know more about cars, tonight, baby. Tonight, Gran Turismo 7. Premiere of Gran Turismo 7 tonight. For those of you who are like, I don't think I'm going to like it. Remember, it's Car the RPG. We start with a crappy car. We work our way up to the best. So we're going to start that tonight, probably around 9 p.m. Eastern, between 8:30 and 9 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to start this evening, and then tomorrow we got some Eberron coming at you. So support the channel, do all that stuff, and I'm going to see you lovely people down the line. Thank you, everybody. Much love. A Giant has the camera. Much love, and thank you all. This was great. I really enjoyed this. I hope you folks did too. We'll try to do these again sometimes, once in a while. They're fun. And I will see you lovely people later down the line. There we go. Bye, everyone. Love you. Hang in there. I'll see you soon.